Right, hello. So hopefully everybody can see me, and we'll do a stream. So I'm doing a public one today because I said I'm trying to alternate between members streams and sort of non-members streams. So it's sort of a fair amount of content. So if people sign up for membership, they still get a good amount of content. But it means if people aren't members, they still get to see stuff. Just trying to think if there's anything to give shout outs for at the moment. Obviously, a big thank you to your mother. You'll find out why in the video coming up soon, and also Weapon Collector will. Weapon Collector does know about it, so I'm not spoiling anything there, but I thought I'd say thank you to him at the beginning. But yeah, you'll see more when I do the unboxing video for what he's sort of sponsored me for. Yeah, all right, Shed on Fire. I mean, yeah, I was ill before Christmas. I don't know if you know. I was ill before Christmas, so there was all that, and then there's been all the corona bollocks recently, and everything's been a bit depressing, hasn't it? But I'm around. All right, your mother. I was just saying thank you to you. So I said, yeah, thank you for sponsoring something in an upcoming video, and I said I'm sure Mike will thank you as well if he's on. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that when it arrives, but it might be quite a while before it does. Is that the one? I'm gonna see if I can pronounce your name right. Zaquai, is that Zaquai? Is that the one where it's due to volcanic ash? Everybody wears masks. All right, Mike. Yeah, the last few streams have been a bit annoying because everybody keeps bringing up politics all the time. But yeah, I'm in a good mood at least because your mother's on. Obviously, he's donated to me like he did to you, so that's nice. I've ordered my things. In terms of what I paid for it, Skeleton Slayer, definitely the Martini Henry rifle. A bit more than just your face, unfortunately, Shed on Fire. I was quite lucky in regards to I didn't have it spread too many other places. Apparently, as a man, the most agonizing thing is if the mumps spreads to your testicles. See, now the face swells up. Imagine if your balls swell up like that. Thankfully, mine didn't. But I have got a slight bit of palsy on this bit of my jaw there. It seems to be recovering at least. I'm hoping it might be in a few weeks my jaw goes back to normal. But at the moment, it's my jaw's kind of like that, where I had the mumps probably worse on the right side of my face. It's kind of like torn the muscle or ligament a bit where the jaw works. All right, Flazzy, hello to everybody else. You used to be able to get FP5 filters pretty easily on eBay, but the problem is with so many masks and filters and that on eBay, is, it's just hard to do at the moment because, the issue is at the moment that due to all the corona stuff, yeah, the Nerd Central, yeah, the extreme lockjaw is definitely gone, as you can see. But yeah, there's still a bit of problems with the muscle there. But yeah, the point where I couldn't eat solid foods has definitely passed. I have not heard of Mongolian rock music, but maybe I ought to have a listen to it. But hello, Richard, if I didn't say hello. It was one of the ones that was, I think, 750 quid, Monty. If I'd have known, no, it was the one that was in slightly damaged condition, I probably wouldn't have bought it. You can go in the video and see about that, but basically it's one of those ones where it's probably, with all the antique rifle laws and that, I wouldn't be shooting it, but it's one that probably isn't safe to shoot because of like a cut in it or like a gouge in it, whatever you want to call it, like that would affect the pressure of the barrel. But what was I going to say? Like the Schmidt Rubin I've got is cheaper than Martini Henry, and I think it's like better in every way except for the historical value of the Martini Henry. I haven't played the Outer Worlds. I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Online recently, and I've been starting to watch this, and I'm listening to an audiobook version of the actual book at the same time. Because I can't be asked to get my book, find where my book of it is in the house and read the book again, so I'm just listening to an audiobook one. But yeah, don't worry, Nerd Central. There hasn't been as much content recently anyway, just because of the fact that obviously when I had mumps, I just did not feel like making videos at all, just because of the fact that it's like having a bad case of the flu combined with your face really, really hurts. Yeah, that's the thing, Riley. It seems like they're cheaper over there, but there's some things where they're a bit weird over here and then over there. Like obviously over here, a lot of things are harder to buy due to the firearms laws. But sometimes there are guns over here where it surprises Americans that if you do have like a Section 1 or a Section 2, what they actually cost. It must be, Mike. I think that must be why. Yeah, it's 1951 it came out, the book. So, yeah, although the TV series I think was 1981, that would be, what, the 40-year anniversary in 2021 of this, although this came out in 2020. And yeah, the book would be even older now, because I think that was 1951, the book. I'm sorry to hear they got it badly shut on fire. Yeah, I had to send off a mumps swab to the hospital the other day because if you get measles, mumps, or rubella now, they're very interested in kind of trying to work out why you can still get it even if you've had the MMR. Yeah, England's in a lockdown. At the moment, it's not really clear when it's going to end because of how bad Corona's getting. If people want to quickly talk about Corona, I don't want it to be a depressing stream, but if you want to have a look at the latest Worldometer's thing on Corona, it's silly that they're closing down Adobe Flash Player. I mean, what's going to happen to all the sites that used to run Flash? I assume they're just not going to work, are they? But, you know, like I said, Adobe's one of those companies I reckon that's just got worse over time with like how much they charge for their products and whatever. See your bots if you're off. If you're uploading a video, that will be why, I imagine. Yeah, I have to listen to the audio thing. Was it like an audio drama version, Mike, or was it just one of the audio books where they were doing it in parts? Because it's about 8 hours, I think, the audio book when I'm listening to at the moment of it, and I'm about halfway through it at the moment. Oh, that's pretty cool, Monty. Oh, that's still cool. I find Adrian Helmet's pretty cool. Bots. Yeah, obviously Adrian Helmet's my Brody's here somewhere. Obviously, this is a World War II one, not a World War one, but yeah, like Brody's, Adrian's, and Stahlhelm's, all pretty cool helmets. Depends, gas mask noob, by what you mean by do face masks protect you. They certainly lower the rate of transmission, but obviously the lower quality of the materials used in the filter medium, the less protective they are. But I was sorting out masks for free for people today who needed them that I know. Because I think now we're getting into like this probably third wave sort of thing. I think a lot more people are taking it seriously and want a proper, respirator with a filter on. If I did that, Riley, unfortunately, it wouldn't. It would break the seal of a few respirator things. This is like the size you can basically go up to before it gets in the way of a respirator oral nasal cup. Yeah, cheers, AK-47. Yeah, I should be at 100k, I reckon, by 6 months if I don't get it before then. I actually lost a lot of weight recently, Skilo, on the fact that I couldn't eat for like a week in a row. I doubt Soviet mess kits there's any issue eating out of them, but I'm not like an MRE sort of person, so But yeah, again, as Iron Star says, if you get droplets in your eyes and you're just wearing a half face mask like that, it's not going to protect you. Not yet, Nerd Central, but I think you already know the answer to that. There'd be a video on it straight away if I got one. Yeah, I know about the South Africa thing, Anarcho Pingu. That's quite worrying, isn't it? So I think somebody said to me as well they thought there was a strain in Brazil today, but I know there's certainly the strain we've got over here, and it's in quite a few other places now, and the South Africa one. But yeah, the South Africa one's the most worrying one, isn't it? Because yeah, it's the most likely to be vaccine resistant or antibody resistant, whatever it was that they were saying about in a video I was watching on it. Like from a proper sciencey sort of channel, not, like something like, whoa, check out these latest corona conspiracies, whoa. Like not one of those channels, but one of those sort of ones a bit like Dr. John Campbell, where they're basically just number crunching in it for an entire video. But the scary thing, isn't it, with the South Africa one, is child mortality is way, way higher with it, from what I understand. So basically, unlike, because like the original strain of corona was pretty much, you'd be really unlucky if you're a kid and got it and died from it. It seems with original corona that kids didn't get it all that often, and if they did, it was very, very mild. With the strain we've currently got in the UK, it seems it does affect kids more badly, and they're much more likely to pass it on. But apparently the South African one is, it treats them just more like adults, where if you get it, you're on a sort of dice roll with how good your chances are. Yeah, Flazzy, I don't listen to the news too much at the moment because, that reason, but I do like to know what's going on. But I normally read up on it or listen to it from the more scientific things, like, Dr. John Campbell's channel is very good for that because he explains it, about trying to get political or whatever else, putting spin on it. It's just more of a kind of science perspective where he makes it easy to understand. Yeah, well, I think Synfrost, it's a combination of things that works, isn't it? It's like hygiene, mask wearing, vaccination, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you shouldn't really rely on a vaccine as a miracle cure. We've had to do that throughout history because some illnesses just didn't go away till vaccinations. But all right, happy birthday then tomorrow, Joshua. It could be Yorkshire Tom. I suppose there's no way of knowing, is there, unless all the stuff openly gets looked into. But there's so many dodgy things with this COVID stuff, and I'm not on about that in tinfoil hat conspiracy way. I'm just on about it more in the sense that will the origins of it ever be known? Will certain people who spread it ever get prosecuted for it? Yeah, thank you, Mike. As you said, don't forget to like and share the stream. But yeah, so at the moment, basically, in the UK, we're in lockdown for at least 6 weeks. It's probably going to go on longer because by the sound of it, it's like if everything goes really well, which it probably won't, in 6 weeks' times, the harshest bits of lockdown will start being eased. And I personally reckon in 6 weeks' time, that means, not much is going to happen. What, Vostok's lesser Grims? Or different models? But Vostok's, yeah, I really like. I've actually got my Vostok on today saying that. There's been a lot of days recently I've not had it on just because I've been around the house so much, because of lockdown. I've not even watched so much. Yeah, thanks, your mother. I've seen Israel's doing well, though, aren't they? Because is it like 16% of the population's been vaccinated now in Israel? I think the UK is only like at 2%, and a lot of countries aren't even at like 1% yet. Hello, Briggs. Yeah, that's really good because obviously Israel's population's lower, isn't it? So 1 million there is a much higher percentage of the thing. But yeah, in the UK, the vaccination started, but obviously we're running into issues where we had a lot of red tape where they didn't want to let lots of people who work in medical professions administer vaccines, even though they were perfectly qualified to do it. All right, Steve, I hope that all goes well. Stay safe, obviously wear a mask and all that when you're doing it. I'm sure that's compulsory anyway, but you'd hate to catch it, wouldn't you, when you were going to get a vaccine? Lots of people in the UK want the vaccination. Most people, if you listen to the radio, are saying I should have the vaccine, not you, kind of thing. The most elderly people are being offered it first. And for example, my granddad was offered the vaccine. He said just personally give it to a doctor because they deserve it more. He's like, I'm staying in anyway. But the thing is, hopefully, eventually everyone will get the vaccine. But at the moment, I think it should go to frontline doctors first because they're the ones who need it the most. Yeah, I don't know, Flazzy, because was it announced a couple of days before, a couple of days after the current English one? I can't remember if Sturgeon sort of copied it or Sturgeon tried to preempt it. Yeah, from what I heard, your mother, on one of the Dr. John Campbell videos, they were at like 300 people, and several other nations were, like at 10,000 to a few 100,000 people. Yeah, Singh, did you hear about the stuff where like pharmacists had to basically plead and make a case in Parliament before they got listened to? Um, because there was this thing where apparently loads of pharmacists were saying, well, when the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine comes around, because we do flu jabs in pharmacies, we should be able to, just do people's COVID vaccines in the pharmacy. And, the government was going like, oh, yeah, but pharmacists aren't qualified to do it. And then eventually they realized they were, because it's just literally giving out a vaccine. I was face fitting my granddad with a mask, Dan. That was part of what I was doing today. Just because of how bad it's getting, I wanted to properly fit him with a P3 mask. So I brought loads over, and was trying a few on him and found one he was comfortable wearing and all that. Yeah, Ron, but good on you in a way. You know what I mean? That's the thing is, I mean, obviously it's good if you're offered it, but at the moment, I think, yeah, it should go to the people most at risk or on the front lines. It's like if they said to me I could have a vaccine, I'd say, well, couldn't you give it to, an ambulance worker or whatever else first if they hadn't been given it? Or, a teacher that needs the vaccine to be effectively teaching kids in school. They play a bigger part. Yeah, I mean, it depends on which vaccine you're on about, Max Keck, because the issue is, especially is it the Pfizer one, isn't it, that has to be stored at like -70°C? That's the one there's going to be loads of problems rolling out anywhere, because essentially you need it in refrigerated or frozen like lorries all the time. Oh yeah, George Orwell. Yeah, I'm trying to keep this stream fun, but yes, everything certainly did go a bit crazy, didn't it, in the US yesterday, because of Trump. Well, the common cold's fairly different than this coronavirus. Because you see, the common cold is not one infection. I don't know if you know this, Welsh Lloyd, but the common cold is basically just a series of upper respiratory infections. So, basically you have thousands of URIs and they're just called the common cold, but they're not all one thing. It's, if anything, it would be more endemic, a bit like flu, I think, in the worst case scenario, where you have to try and predict how the strain's going to mutate. In a nuclear disaster, you'd want a reactor gas mask because, from what I understand, it covers you against like iodine gas and like radium style gases, doesn't it? Radon gas. As Mr. Livera says, yeah, we can cure the common cold through vaccination. The issue is, yeah, there's too many. It's like with the flu jab, with the flu jab, if you're lucky, the flu jab perfectly protects you. If you're unlucky, you get a strain of flu that year that wasn't included in the flu jab if you have the flu jab. Yeah, I'm quite a bit better, Dan. I still get a bit of pain in my face there, where it's like torn the ligament or a bit there. Yeah, I think it's to do with this new strain of its thing, but yeah. I'm getting rid of the person that keeps spamming something that I'm not even sure what they're on about. If it's a maths thing, look it up. Yeah, I'm not too bad. I like World War II considering everything's going on. Is there anything funny that's been in the news recently that's not Corona or the US election? It'd be nice to see if it'd be nice to see if there's anything funny on the news. I don't know if there is though. Elon Musk becomes world's richest person. I thought Bezos was the world's richest person. Oh yeah, it says he literally just overtook Jeff Bezos. You can. Thank you, Antonio. But yeah, you get access to the members only streams when I do them. There's one members only video at the moment, but yeah, it's mostly just when I do a members only stream, like every other day. You can chat on them with people. Yeah, at least Elon Musk actually does stuff. Infinity. Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that he's building rockets and doing stuff and like putting chips in pigs' brains. You know, it's interesting. Or did somebody talk about like baked beans cold? I don't think $1 a month is a lot, but yeah, thank you. But yeah, there'll probably be a members stream tomorrow. In all honesty, most like saying most other days I do a members stream. I just did a public one today because I thought more people might come on. Mike, I could certainly understand people eating them cold out the can. Oh, thank you, Max. I could certainly understand people eating stuff cold out the can like that if they don't have a way of heating it and just want some food. Um, Not really. I like World War II because I've done videos cleaning other masks. Just look at the ones I've done on other World War II or delicate masks. The idea is that you basically don't use any harsh chemicals on them. Wipe them gently with a cloth. George Orwell says, "Can you say these words? Vitamin, water bottle, British." Or could somebody not say that? Was it Boris? I didn't watch Boris's thing today. All right, Elizabeth. Which video are you watching? I'm only live at the moment just because I thought it might be interesting to chat with people. There was respirators for dogs and things like that in World War One and World War Two, Nugget. In terms of nowadays, I think there are technically, but for the most part, people can get like the pet carriers that have like the filter system built in. Is the UK out of the EU? Yes, I don't like going too much into politics, but as far as I'm aware, we technically left, didn't we, like a year ago? And then in December was when they finally agreed on a withdrawal agreement. I doubt by the end of 2021 everything will be back to normal, especially just due to the fact of the economic damage done. But we're getting really off the topic now of a happy stream, aren't we? Like a fun stream. It's not a survival room, Callum. I doubt it would last very long if a nuke went off. No, that's all right. It's just, yeah, with a lot of these streams, they always end up going really bleak anyway. All right, Tyre? Just to warn the mods, I think there's a few people on spamming now, so you might end up having to just hand out blocks. I've got slow mode on, so it should at least stop people spamming the same comment over and over and over and over again. No, we didn't get any snow here, Jennifer. It's been frosty. It's been like basically frosty fog the last few days, where it's horribly cold outside, but it's not really interesting weather. Because if I did, I'd do other videos on it, M1C Austin. All right, have a good evening, your mother. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I don't know if Merlin Archery is shipping stuff at the moment, so I have to find out. But yeah, I'll let you know when I know if they're moving it or whatever. I'm glad you find it interesting, Infinity, but yeah. What is my favourite film? Oh, that's an interesting thing. If I'm thinking of favourite film ever, I have to have a think. Because the thing is, I like kind of different genres of films, obviously, and then in some genres, I like other things. Does that make sense? The airsoft thing gets brought up a lot. The problem is ignoring COVID, because I doubt airsoft is going on with COVID. Let's have a think. Morte Delamore is really good. I really like Doctor Strangelove. Oh, if he was wearing the cheek filter thing correctly, Joe, it would it would keep like riot agents out. I think his family is part French, Orwell. I mean, there was a good Christmas song about Boris Johnson. I hope you all bought it to try and get it to number one. Sadly, it didn't get to number one. But people in the UK can have a massively weird list of names that might sound like kind of foreign. Is Damnation Alley the one kind of about nuclear war, the weird 80s one, Inductive Tea Cake? I have a feeling I might have seen that ages ago. Favorite Soviet mask is definitely the Shums or SHMS, whatever it's called, the creepy skull one. The cold weather will certainly make it fog up faster, Mike, because if you're breathing out hot air and it's cold outside, it will fog up faster for that reason alone. Like the same reason, car windows mist up more in the winter. You could try getting some like fairy liquid, like washing up liquid. Put it really thinly over using a cloth. The inside, and you can use washing up liquid as like an anti-fog layer. But in the winter, there's not too much you can do about that, because if the outside temperature, is drastically different than the inside, you generally do get humidity for that reason. Our front room windows are really bad for humidity in the winter. Like the double glazing isn't quite there anymore, so they fog up. Probably Primark Dan, in all honesty. I can't actually remember. It's probably either from Primark or one of those sort of things. Well, personally, if I could get access to an in-date charcoal one, that'd be a lot more comfortable. In terms of, for most people buying them, you can get rubber ones that still work for a lot, cheaper. Right. Some of the people, if you're trying to at certain people, you need to at certain people with your messages because they don't make sense on their own. Yeah, I was watching that yesterday, Tyre, and listening to it. Like I said, it's crazy, wasn't it? Because when I was first hearing about it, I don't think they'd got into the building at that point. So it was more just, where they were cutting to it amongst other news. But yeah, then it took over all the news, didn't it, when they got inside the building and like all the shooting started. Favorite video game? Oddworld's Abe's Exodus. Technically, Soulstorm, the remake sort of remaster thing of that's meant to be coming out this year if it's not delayed. Yeah, but did you see the video, Tyre? She basically tried to climb through that barricaded door where the Secret Service or whatever they were are. There is kind of a bit of a Darwin Award sort of thing to that. It's like if I randomly, broke into the UK Parliament and started trying to like smash through to where people, I wouldn't be surprised if I was shot dead. They're not really going to check you've got a gun. They're probably just going to shoot you because, their job is literally like VIP protection, isn't it? Those sort of guys. Yeah, that's the thing. Like Max says, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, again, it is bad if an unarmed person gets shot, but in a lot of these sort of situations, when you see it from various camera angles, you think, if you're doing some of this stuff, you are kind of, But like I said, I really don't want to drag this stream down with was it right for somebody to be lethally shot dead? Yeah, nuke map is pretty interesting, isn't it? You mean the one where you can do the different like air bursts and ground bursts at the different like megatons and like fallout projections? There's an RPK in the very background, if you can see that, but I can't get out to show you because of YouTube's weird rules. Yeah, you can't see the Schmidt-Rubin that's over there. Yeah, cheers, Tactical. I'm certainly a lot better than I was a week or two ago. Yeah. You know, because obviously most of the swelling's gone down horribly. Like, the horrible swelling's mostly gone down now. I've also not been drinking for a few days. I'm doing, like, probably dry January. I didn't start on January the 1st, but I've been probably, like, 5 days totally sober now. What type? DX or obsolete calibers or what? I like World War II. Like post-apocalypse ones, or just apocalyptic style things in general. Like the Stalker series is good for that sort of thing, but that's kind of like a localized apocalypse. Let me have a think. So obviously you said Fallout series, haven't you? Chernobylite I haven't played much yet, but Chernobylite would be very similar to Stalker. The Long Dark's quite good. That's kind of like post-apocalyptic. It's hard to think off the top of my head. I'm sure there's loads. As soon as the stream ends, I'd think, oh, that and that and that and that. But yeah, outside of the Stalker series, I would say, like outside of the Fallout series, probably Stalker, Chernobylite. Also, Terminator Resistance is pretty good if you want like a budget sort of apocalypse game. If you can get either of those on a budget, they're all right. But the S10 over the C3, the C3 is basically like an upgraded old British World War II mask. So it's better than the World War II one, but it's got a lot of drawbacks. Like a C3, if you can get one, they're actually quite hard to get now, so it's worth picking one up. But the S10 is much better if you can get it on a budget. Not very much Armour 3 at all, Tyre, actually, in all honesty. Armour 2 I've played a lot more than Armour 3. Closest thing I think would be rabies thing. Like rabies is absolutely horrible, but it doesn't really turn people into zombies. Obviously, it just basically turns people eventually into a vegetable and kills them. But, you know, can make them quite violent and paranoid until they die. Yeah, the thing is, Ty, if I hadn't played Armour 2 and I played Armour 3 now and then played Armour 2, I think I prefer Armour 3. It's just I never really got into Armour 3 as much, and I've given it quite a lot of chances, and I don't think it's a bad game or anything. And I can understand from like modding capability, graphics and all that, Armour 3 is a hell of a lot better. But I think just because when I played Armour 2, I really liked it, it's kind of got a bit of a nostalgia value for me. You know, and I can remember how to do a lot of the stuff without looking up the prompts for it. An FM12 at this point is probably going to be in like the £100 to £300 range. It shouldn't be that much at all. It's just they are because of Corona. The one I like, Philip, I've not had any really modern new ones, but I can get one out for you because it's not a gun, technically, according to YouTube. This type. Just a second. It might be wedged behind something, so just give me a moment. I don't want to knock over our briefcase. Right, hopefully I've got this free now. Maybe not. Right, that was far more difficult than it should have been. It's a bit dusty because I've not used it in ages, but the ones I quite liked are this type. So these can have loads of different brand names on them, but I think they were generally originally called Polang or Mankung crossbows. And this is the one that normally gets called the Firecat or the Jaguar. You can put whatever prod you want on it. So this one's, I think, it's got the £105 prod on it at the moment. You can fit scopes to it because it's just got a 20mm rail, or you can use it with iron sights. This is the one that actually uses wood rather than plastic. But again, if you want the plastic ones, you can get the plastic one. This scope is an air rifle scope I've put on it where it zeroes pretty close to where the bolts go. So it's not a scope designed for this crossbow at all. It's just if you're shooting at about 20 yards, the scope's clear enough. Like obviously in this room, the scope's blurry because it's, like a scope that's designed for about 20, 30 yards of use. And at that range, the bolts land in a pretty good pattern with the scope. But this scope certainly wasn't designed for this crossbow. It was just a spare scope I had laying around and I put on it at one point. Was somebody asking, was it legal? It's like, yes, in the UK, crossbows are definitely legal. If these are illegal, I wouldn't get them out and show you. This one isn't, but you can find them for sale pretty easily online if you're in the UK. Look up Merlin Archery, or there's a few other places in the UK that sell them. I used to buy a lot from Blades and Bows, but unfortunately they closed down when the government messed about with a load of the laws that fucked over a lot of independent businesses. Yeah, as Fozzie says, and Nick, for now, ... like everything in the UK. In what regard? If you're a very, very good archer, a regular bow is better, especially something like a longbow. If you're somebody who doesn't know how to shoot a bow, a crossbow is better. If it's for something very specific, it would depend on what the specific use for one is. Oh yeah, I forget about Prepper Shop Max Keck. That's probably the closest thing to Blades and Bows, isn't it? I mean, I don't like Monty going on about, crime and stuff like that on here because it is a bit depressing, but I do feel sorry for, was it a 13-year-old kid that was stabbed to death? I mean, that's fucking horrible, isn't it? But, but again, it just points to the fact there's lots of things wrong in this country and lots of others, The fact that it was wasn't it other teenagers stabbing, another teenager? I know stuff like that happens, and I know when it happens, over drugs type stuff, it's more common. I don't know what this one was over, but, it's just a sad thing, isn't it, Oh, cool, Ryan. But, yeah, when you say riveted mail, was it really butted mail? Yeah, Corona's pretty nasty. Well, I mean, it can be nasty, can't it? It depends. Some people are lucky and they just get, mild cold symptoms. Did you recover all right? I'd assume you recovered all right, NI watchers. All right, in the UK, you can't legally hunt with either a bow or a crossbow. I'm just going to put that back down again now. If you're on about other countries, like say the States, it would completely be what the laws in your state say and are you trained to do it. Obviously, most people do crossbow because you don't have to hold it back all the time like that. If you're with a crossbow, once you pull the string back, it's locked in by the mechanism, and obviously it doesn't release till you pull the trigger. Oh, in Sweden, I was going to say close up. That's not the case here, but yeah, because in the UK, you can't really own pistols unless they're the ones that have the big long barrel and the big kind of stock on them. So they're not really a pistol anymore, unless obviously you're a cop or whatever, or a criminal with one. Oh, yeah, it's good. One of my relatives has got it at the moment, Antonio, and he's quite ill, but not seriously ill, but ill that obviously he has to isolate anyway because he's got corona. But like he said, it feels like he's got a really bad case of the flu. Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it, ACM? I know it's a problem in lots of places, but it's the fact that people are literally willing to maim and kill people over literally petty shit is, I think, the real sad thing. If I was when I was at school, the worst thing that would happen is somebody got a black eye, or got put in a headlock. Worst case scenario is you had 3 or 4 people beat up one person. That was, nobody got stabbed, at least back then, at least not, not when I was at school. But I know people obviously did even in that period now and then. But it's just the, rate of escalation on it in a sense. There was never a thought of parents buying their kids stab-proof vests when I was at school. That was never a thing. Fuzzy, are you gonna have to pay extra for that? Because I think you were saying, weren't you, that even if you've got a section 1 and a section 2 in Scotland, you still have to get a separate one for an air rifle. It's just the topics that always get up broccoli, unfortunately, on these ones. Yeah, that certainly doesn't help, does it, TK, with a lot of this stuff? So it's not too much then. Yeah, I mean, they're fun. I mean, obviously, the high power ones, if you can get them under your licenses, they're obviously really fun. But even like the sub 12 foot-pound ones are pretty fun. I just like plinking with them sometimes. Because obviously I imagine it's still a lot cheaper to plink, even with the price of pellets going up, than it is than like buying ammo for, say, a Ruger 1022. I don't think they had crossbows, the police in the US yesterday. I saw some with the paintball, like pepper spray guns. James, this isn't in England, weirdly. This is in Scotland. In England, you don't need an FAC or anything for an air rifle. They're unlicensed. I'm getting rid of the person who's trying to race bait a question now, because that's pretty pathetic. Yeah, Richard, because I know there was that video years ago, wasn't there, Richard, of like that master archer bloke, whatever it was, and it's like, yeah, he's shooting a bow really, really fast, but that bow would not be a battlefield bow because the draw weight, would be too low, the accuracy would be too low and all that. There's a reason war bows are fucking massive, because they had to put really big arrows over a long distance and punch through armor. Lars Anderson, was that his name? That rings the bell, but yeah. It was one of those things that a couple of my mates said, like, do you reckon he's a really good archer? It's like he can shoot the bow fast, don't get me wrong, that's kind of impressive. But yeah, like Richard, it's more of a performance thing than actual, there's a reason historical archers didn't shoot like that. Do you actually want a Geiger counter, Caleb, or do you just want something that detects ionizing radiation? Because there are other things other than Geiger counters that detect radiation. And what country are you in, Caleb? Because that's going to completely change the answer. I've seen it on Steam, but I've not bought Holdfast. Any safe 40mm Ghost filter, so a modern one, but again, that's a hard topic because lots of the ones I've previously recommended aren't made anymore. I know old Greg is the Mighty Boosh. I don't actually know what my name is, Jeff. It sounds familiar. But... Right. What ranges, like, to see if it's background radiation, Caleb, or a bit higher, or like really cool doomsday levels of radiation that you'll probably never see the needle move on your meter? Because see that one that's blue in the background there? That is a British MD3 meter. Those are still quite cheap on eBay. And they go from 0. I suppose it's about 0.2 centigrade to 300 centigrade. 300 centigrade would pretty much be a lethal dose in an hour. Oh, sounds like there's a plane flying low over. Shouldn't be flying that low. Oh well. I'm glad you find the old videos interesting then, Briggs. Well, it wouldn't. The thing is nice that most of the time it's not bad, but the problem is unless you've got a way of detecting it, you don't know if it's bad or not, do you? That's the problem. But yeah, did you say what level you wanted? Sorry, Caleb. If you want background levels, I would say, unless you can get like a CDV 700 remarkably cheap over here, one of the various Soviet Geiger counters, or like one of the modern Chinese ones that aren't too bad now. Like I think it was what Inductive Tea Cake was saying, like you can get things like the Beregs and like better models than this if you just want to see like background levels of radiation. All these do is just sort of chirp, and if it's green, it's all right. If it goes above the green, then it's something above normal. Well, at the moment, Max, as I said, I've been doing several days on doing that dry January thing. But, I like ale, I like spirits, I like most things. Only recently, no. So the only thing I saw recently was when there was those fires there that threw a lot of radionuclides back up in smoke that would then come back down. Because when that happened, we got much higher readings here. But for the most part, Chernobyl is, contained to the exclusion zone. Because it's the BR6B in the background there, isn't it, that one? So, no, I've not tried the BR9B. How much are they? They're the sort of thing where if they're not too much, I wouldn't mind getting one. But if they're nearly identical for like 60 quid. Let me type in BRB9 Geiger. So, let's have a look at it. I found one. So, it has sound play light button, on-off button. So, it's similar to that one, pretty much, in terms of button function. So, it has what you're currently getting average, and it has a cumulative. Okay. Did that one do a cumulative? I can't remember. It had like the bar graph, didn't it, on that other one? What's the range on it? Does it say on the description? Cumulative range. It says it goes to 99.999 millisieverts, which is a lot higher than that one did. But yeah, here's the problem. Real-time range up to 99.99 microsieverts. So, yeah, it's good if you want something to tell you if you're above background. As soon as you're at nuclear disaster levels of any proportion, it's just going to max out. So I don't really see much advantages over that one in the background. What's the next thing I'm planning to buy? Well, ideally a bunker, but that's probably not going to be the next thing. Yeah, especially with check sources, exactly, inductive TK. That's what annoyed me of that one. That, you know, most people figure out how to make the decimal place move, you know, on the strength of what you're putting next to it, not on those. You know, it's literally, it will read, you know, 0.001 when you first turn it on. And then, you know, it will only move as much to let you go to 99.99. Yeah, I used to leave that one on 24/7, just powered by a USB cable. But as said, the only problem is it's not going to tell you much interesting other than just are you background or above. And I've got a couple of decimeters now where I just leave batteries in them, you know, where an alarm goes off if it gets to 1 microsievert or more. I don't blame you, Max. But yeah, I won't be on too much longer because I've been on 47 minutes now. What are those, like the assorted medic kit type things, Caleb? I mean, they're probably useful if you've got first aid training and know what you're doing with them. Cool. They're very nice masks, aren't they? Real Rye, however your name's pronounced. They're very comfortable for shooters. I wonder where mine's gone. That's something I've not found in a while, in all honesty. No, I've not played the Division 2. I've done a lot of videos on the S10. The downsides of the S10 is the rubberized straps on it can be a bit annoying to tighten and loosen, especially when they're a bit secondhand. The drinking tube system isn't all that good. Like, it's an alright system for attaching to the canteen. It's a bad straw-like flip design. The original S10 as well had pretty weak lenses. Oh, thank you very much, Sakuraba. Right, I've never been good at knife throwing. I've tried it a couple of times and I've been crap at it. Weapon Collector, who's on here, has done some good knife throwing videos. I'm subscribed to Adam Cheladin. I'm trying to think how his name's pronounced. He's a nice bloke from the Czech Republic who does a lot of like really professional knife throwing. But I've never been good at it myself. But it's never been something, you know, I've spent time trying to get good at. You know, it's probably one of those things where if I followed one of the good tutorials for it and dedicated an afternoon to it, I could probably start throwing knives, you know, and at least getting half of them to stick somewhat in quite a big target. Oh yeah, Stalker Flazzy is basically an alternative history kind of survival horror type sci-fi game set in the Chernobyl exclusion zone after a second explosion. And again, the reason there's a second explosion is kind of like spoilers, but and it's resulted in like anomalies and mutants. It's basically a video game adaptation of Roadside Picnic, which is an old Russian science fiction book. Yeah, they were really good riot shield tests, weren't they, Richard? Because like the stuff he throws at it in some of them are much more likely what, you know, you might experience as a cop, you know, if you weren't getting shot at with a firearm, you know, people throwing knives or like blunt or sharp objects. What makes it easier, Peach? Is it just, and Peach is video based, by the way, is it the fact that there's a handle on the axe? It's a bit like throwing a stick grenade. I've not actually read the Metro books, but I have read Roadside Picnic. Do I ever wear a watch? I've got one on. The Vostok Amphibia is the one I end up wearing a lot. There's loads of models of Amphibia, but they were like the Soviet dive watches. The reason I like them is they're cheap and they were built to be kind of used and abused. If you like Nazis, Adolf, you can fuck right off. Thank you, goodbye. Yeah, the Soviet film called Stalker is based on the book Roadside Picnic, Inductive Tea Cake, and then the Stalker game is based on the film and the book. I can never remember the Russian bloke's name who directed Stalker, though. It's like Tigernovsky or something, isn't it? Like, a lot of people consider him like the Russian Stanley Kubrick, but, oh, and thank you, Dominic. I showed one earlier, Caleb. Go on Prepper's Shop or Merlin Archery and have a look on there and just go for one of the simple ones that's not like crap. Well, it's not very... So it's Tarkovsky, is it? But the one I showed earlier, like the one that's called like either the... what's the name of it? Like the Jaguar or the Firecat. They give it names like that. Yeah, Komandurskis are nice as well. The reason I just went for the Amphibia is I figured, you know, it's slightly... you know, built to be slightly even more abused than the Komandursky. But yeah, I like the sort of Vostok mentality of watches the Soviets had of just build a really strong watch. It doesn't have to be that good at timekeeping. But yeah, as Mike says, what's your budget? That's an important question because, you know, it's like when people ask me about Geiger counters and like, I can't afford that. Are you looking at the Nixie tube clock? It's one that Hype sent me for free. So it's a Nixie tube clock. So what that means is if you like retro technology, let me just get the stuff out the way of the cable so I can hold it up to the screen. You know, it's like Fallout or Metro Nixie tubes. If I turn the light off, it's more impressive because obviously you can see these in perfect darkness. Right, the webcam probably won't focus on it very well, but yeah, they're Nixie tubes. So basically, it's a vacuum tube that has, is it filaments in? They're sometimes called cold cathode tubes. And they basically display an image by, is it like the plasma in the tube through high voltage? I can never remember the exact science of them. They just look cool. They're not really expensive if you buy them from the right place or know the right people. They can be very, very expensive, VX Gamer, but what a lot of people do is they essentially buy really cheap module kits for Nixie tubes, then essentially redesign them slightly and upsell them. I mean, 100 millisieverts an hour is pretty damn impressive, isn't it, if that's a small pocket one, because that's, what, 10 Rontgen per hour? Yeah, 10 Rontgen per hour, roughly. A bit more than 10 Rontgen, 11.4 Rontgen. Let me look that one up. Tracuro. Let me look it up. Yeah, I really like Vostoks. Like I said, for the most part, because of lockdown, I've not been wearing a wristwatch as much as I used to. But I'm one of those people who, if I buy nicer watches, I end up breaking them. I like the look of a lot of those coming up, especially the ones that have like the little kind of man where he looks like he's being irradiated. That's pretty cool. Yeah, let me link to this one because this looks really cool. For people in the chat, I don't know if this is the model you have. Oh, right, the link's too long, damn it. Right, hang on. Let's see if I can get this up as a like smaller link. If I open image in new tab again, will it make a short URL? No. But yeah, there's one here. Let me just go to the page it's on. Ah, yeah, there we go. If I open the... Right, no, right. If I link you to this page, it's just this one. Ah, cool. That's your one, is it? But yeah, that one is cool with the little man on, like with the trifoil on him. So I guess when your body fills up red, that's bad news, or is that the point when it sounds the alarm? Is that like your daily dose or whatever? What's the units they've got on there? 500 microsieverts, 45 microsieverts an hour. I suppose that's not too nice a dose to be getting. Was £40, Caleb, for the Geiger counter or crossbow? But if you had a £40 budget for a Geiger counter, you could probably only really get like the old Soviet little calculator style ones. I wouldn't mind getting a Seiko or Seiko, however it's pronounced. I've got like a Seiko dress watch type one, but that's not like one of the dive watch type ones. I'd rather have a dive watch ones, but because I bought an Orient dive watch and then it got fucked. The coil spring got fucked in it, and it kind of exploded. But it was a nice watch while it lasted, but I never bothered getting it repaired. But yeah, next time I think rather than going for an Orient, I might go for an actual Seiko. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with a Vostok again. That sounds good, inductive tea cake. It might protect you a bit against inhaling it, but obviously if it burns the rest of you, it's not going to do much against white phosphorus, no. Yeah, like I mean, that's what made me think of Dominic. Made me think a bit of the Pit Boy type one, where it shows like the head and that with like the damage and that. Anyway, I'll go off now. Most people I know who really, really need to use a watch, weirdly, have old Casio watches. And not the G-Shocks. They have like the one that's called the terrorist watch, whatever it was. You know, the one Bin Laden famously wore. What's the name of it? It's like Casio's most famous watch, but that like really basic digital watch. I know guy's a pilot and he likes that watch because, you know, apparently it's good enough, and, you know, I'll take his word for it. All right, bots, you're back just as I was going off. We were discussing watches, weirdly enough. I mean, gaining 1 hour per week isn't too bad for a 1980s Casio at all, tactical. But I assume you mean you think that's good in a sense. Or are you just saying because I suppose technically, if I didn't know if you're making a joke there about like the date a year or something. Then maybe I'm overthinking it. All right, cool. Check that out later, bots. I'm probably gonna go get a drink, and I mean a drink of water, not alcohol, as soon as this stream ends. But well, if you were buying a watch, I don't know why you'd buy an 80s one unless you really liked an 80s one for a specific reason. Yeah, I use my phone in all honesty, Flazzy, during lockdown. My phone is the main thing I look at for the time, or like a PC clock, because it, you know, there's not much you can do if you're stuck around the house. Yeah, or like saying, or like if you're on a quad bike or, you know, whatever, your dashboard clock in a car. Yeah, that's another practical place to see the time. Favorite YouTuber, that'd be Weapon Collector, who's in this stream right here. All right, good for you, Peach, but I'm trying to go a month without drinking any alcohol, and you're making me want it. Anyway, right, see you all. Have a good day, good evening, whatever. Thank you to anybody that donated or joined up for membership. I will do a members stream tomorrow at some point. There will also be a video on tomorrow, but it might just be another one looking at the corona numbers, you know, and seeing if there's any more masks to recommend people, because at the moment the corona stuff's kind of getting worrying, you know. All right, see you all. Have a good day, evening, morning, whatever time zone you're in. See you all. Goodbye.